Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. The message that follows is vital to the future of you all.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Vital to the future of you all. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending where you are in the world. How are you? How is everyone? Hello. This is the Rabbi from Another Planet's video vault. It's a little bit egotistical calling it the Rabbi from the Planet's video vault. It is on my channel after all. But you know what? I'm a pretty egotistical guy. I think I can freely admit to that. I don't think I have any problem holding my hands up to that. Each week we delve into a movie, interesting movie. It's basically movies I like. And I force the panel to watch it. And sometimes it's movies they like as well. Hopefully this week, it's aliens. How wrong could we get? How wrong could we go? That's basically the plan. We're going to be talking about aliens tonight, and I have a panel with me. To help. They hope they all got their motion trackers ready as we go down the ventilation shafts of doom and discuss aliens. So the first guest we have tonight to discuss aliens is an alien newbie, somebody who is completely new to the world of aliens, Alien Squared, Alien Resurrection. He's new to all of it. It is my fellow compadre, a man of the cloth. How are you, sir? Father Miller, how are you?
Doing good. Doing very good. I was just responding to a comment, thinking one of my favorite movies is Army of Darkness. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Oh, that's actually, it's a fun movie.
I love it. Shop smart, shop smart.
Yeah,
happy to be here today. Happy to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
Very good. Yeah, I'm really excited to hear what your impressions were. I would say that Aliens is perhaps one of the most notable geeky films possible.
I can't believe I've never seen it till now.
I know, but to analyze it, we need a geek. We need a geek to analyze it. I try to get a reasonably good geek, in between geek, a large geek. But you know what? I got one better than any other geek you could possibly imagine. I found myself a mega geek. Ian, how are you? Good afternoon.
Okay, your intros are getting worse and worse every week.
You see, that's what zero planning looks like. Zero planning.
I'm all right. I'm looking forward to reviewing this. I really like this film, so I hope Father liked it as well.
An hour ago, I haven't seen it for a few years. It's really good. It's really freaking good. By the way, Pop Culture Avenger, could you get in contact with me because you won a prize? And I'm getting up to the point of mailing them out. What did you win? Lord of the Rings 2 Towers. So if you can get in contact with me and send me your mail, even if you send it to me already, please send it to me again because I've lost it. At least I don't know where to look for it. That would be great. So also joining us in the video vault, we have England has many locations, and all of them are wonderful. And all of them are, I would say, little fiefdoms in of themselves. It used to be the capital of England. It used to be Northampton. That was where the king used to live. But each little place had its own king. And I think one of the most important kings in the entire British Isles was Birmingham. So we brought him here today. King of the Geeks, Dan Hadley's Facebook, Type 40 Podcast.
That's the worst one ever. That's the worst one ever.
It's all true, though. It is all.
It is
categorically facts, unarguable. Yes, seeing as we're going to be facing down with the Queen today, I had to come.
What's going on with the Queen, Alien Queen? I thought, what's going on with I'm a huge royalist. I'm like, so I'm going on with the Queen? Oh my god! So,
stand by her. Yeah.
Even in Israel, I listen to the Queen's speech every year with pride and gusto. I love the Queen. I do. I just love the Queen.
We love the bones of her, mate. Love the bones.
I love the Queen. Right, Al. Probably I'm going to guess our next guest. Our next guest may have bumped into the Queen, probably on a movie set. I think we'll probably hear about it at some point. By the way, this next guest never has his camera on. He had his camera on for like half a second before we started. He's a very good-looking chap. He's an awfully good-looking chap. He should have a camera more often. Problem being, how are you, sir?
Kind. Let's rock!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I know.
so good. It's so
I haven't met the Queen.
We have two more guests. One isn't here yet. I'm sure he'll be here at any moment. As soon as he arrives, we'll roll him in. But we have one other guest, a newbie to the video vault. So please, treat him gently. Treat him gently as we bring him in. And when he said he's coming on, he said, "Oh, I know something about this movie, so I'm happy to come on." That's not a prerequisite for video vault. You don't have to know anything about the movie.
No, that's not what we're talking about.
You are the better. But we have something totally different tonight. We have what was it? Keith British Isles. I was going to say Keith British Isles is here. Keith Isles, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining us.
Game over, man. Game over.
I forgot how cool this freaking movie was. This movie is.
This movie must have been sampled by every French and Canadian industrial band going on.
Well, that's a reasonably obscure reference that I perhaps
people will know what I'm talking about
straight away. But time to get away from her, you bitch. Which all the iconic bits of this movie are in the last 10 minutes, which it's like really.
No, they're not. Halfway through the film, they got some great lines like Hudson, we are leaving.
Throughout the entire movie,
You can get out, man.
The entire movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's so much better for watching the special edition. Special edition is fantastic. Oh, as we're doing it live, let me say hello to the chat. Everybody's here. Pop Culture Avenger already said hello to you. Father Christian Miller, you're here as well. That just confuses me. And that's a different outfit.
I figured it engaged the audience.
It's even more confusing. Lord Thoth, how are you? Hell, Lord Thoth. Disaster area, as we all know. My son, who's turning 18 tonight, midnight tonight. If he had a superhero name, it will be Disaster Area. Do you know how much of a disaster area he is? He's very sweet. He's very innocent, but he's also likes to be a bit naughty. He's going out with his friends. So they built themselves this incredible clubhouse. So it's the best clubhouse I've ever seen. And he asked, "Is it okay if I take the tequila with me tonight for my birthday?" I'm like, no, we cannot. This is like you public drunkenness. It's like you work out for yourself on your 18th birthday. Small bit of trivia. On my 17th birthday, I went on a pub crawl, and I ended up in a late night showing of the Blues Brothers in Baker Street, and vomiting profusely as I sat there. And then when I woke up from my stupor, I looked around, and weirdly, nobody was around me. That whole area had
no tortoises were harmed in the making of that.
Yes, drunkenness and me as a young man was not a good combination. So Disaster, I said hello to you. PD Rich, how are you, sir? So yes, stay frosty, man. Everything about this is that movie. Derek McMahon, I shall take off. I say we take off and you can say. I'm sorry, now I just mangled the line. I say we take off and nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Hudson, we are leaving.
Yeah. Well, I think we caught up with everybody. Fine.
Not bad for a human.
You know what's happening, but you don't know what it is, do you? No, it's Dr. Jones, not Mr. Brown. I was completely wrong. I'm sure there's another Mr. Brown reference. Fine, let's talk about aliens. So it starts off pretty much where Alien left off. Father Miller hasn't seen Alien. I sent him Alien, but it didn't work around the file. So it's a lot quieter than Aliens.
Well, as I said, I didn't recognize it was the sequel until about 20 minutes in. I mean, I
think it's a standalone.
I actually did fine not seeing the first.
So I'm sorry?
I enjoyed it, even though I hadn't seen the first. I had no trouble getting into the story.
It really, it's one of the, I say, prototypical ultimate popcorn summer movies. You go and you have fun, and everything is just delivered immaculately. I mean, and I like that it was done on a smaller budget than we're used to seeing. I enjoyed the model work. Who did the model work? Was that Derek Meddings? It kind of felt like Derek Meddings to me.
No, it wasn't Derek Meddings. Who was supervising that? I can't remember. Oh God, what's his name? He did Brian Johnson. Was it Brian Johnson?
Oh, you mean Joe
Anybody?
Johnson?
No, Brian. Who's the special effects?
Oh, yeah. One second. Aliens, 1986.
Brian Johnson, visual effects supervisor, Brian Johnson. It was.
Did he do like the Terry Gilliam movie?
He did. I think he did Empire. He did Empire, did he not?
Brian
yes.
Johnson?
Yeah.
Definitely got that same.
I think
British
John Richardson did some of the visual effects on it.
Yeah, but Brian Johnson was the supervisor, so he was the main man at the end of the day. So yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, but I think this whole movie, more than anything else, much like Terminator before it. There's somebody just arrived. Hang on, no. Much like the Terminator before it, is just drips with James Cameron. I think every pore of this movie, from the design to the, I can really see him writing like the flames into the script as they. The flames on the side of the APC as they drive. I can see him writing that, and I can see him imagining that. So a lot, like Terminator, was it? Who was it that won the Oscar for the visual effects? It was
his company, wasn't it?
Stan Winston.
Yeah, Stan Winston.
So Stan Winston on his when he accepted it, he said, "Listen, I feel very fraudulent taking this because James Cameron, he basically designed everything. Like when he wanted to work out the bolt axle for the Terminator, James Cameron would just draw it for him. The design aesthetic of this movie seems to me purely 100% James Cameron, and he seems like he liked Alien a lot. Isn't perhaps one of the best pieces of fan fiction ever made? That the original. Because he really took Alien and he made a completely different movie on it and put his own stamp on it. So let's go through the plot a little bit. So we start off that Ripley is asleep in in the escape ship. It was the Narcissus. Was that what that was called? I can't remember.
The Nostromo.
No,
the escape pod's the Narcissist. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. There you go.
Well remembered.
So after the quiet titles, which is about the only quiet bit of the movie, a salvage ship finds it, opens up, and I just love that whole the robot arm going in and scanning everything, then the people coming in. All of a sudden it gets very. The original Alien was very English blue collar. It's like I can imagine English truck driver. This seemed much more American blue collar as he takes his helmet off or his thing off. Says, there goes our salvage because Ripley's is still alive. And then we're watching the special edition. So we go. Oh no, the special edition doesn't come in for another couple of scenes. Then she's over. It cuts to was it the Gateway Station? Is that the name where they are above Earth? And you think, I love the way James Cameron plays with the viewer because you're expecting to see the alien, right? You're expecting to see where's it going? Is it going to attack Earth? What's going to happen? And I love this. This is before the era of franchises, right? And so we have that fantastic scene where she finds out she's been in cryosleep for 57 years, and then Jones the cat starts hissing. And she sits up in bed, and an alien's about to come out of her, and it's all a dream. And she's fine. This first little bit, does anybody want to chime in? What does everybody think about the how this movie opens? Let's start with Father Miller, because you're new to this.
Well, like I said, I think the sign of a good sequel is the fact that you can watch it and not realize that it's a sequel. Again, I mean, I've seen bits and parts, like I mentioned before the chat started. The Spaceballs part with John Hurt. I mean, that's become part of our pop culture.
Right, exactly.
So, I mean, the idea, it's a really well told story. I just can't believe it's one of those I've never seen before. And now I want to see the first one.
Okay, again, first one, I will send you a I'm sorry?
But no, don't worry. I will say the one thing that was different for me is seeing Paul Reiser in a movie. I've never seen him in a film until now.
Well,
because usually
he's very young there, isn't he?
He is, isn't he? You should go and search. It's probably on YouTube. He did a Saturday Night Live sketch called "Mad About You Aliens," which basically he was married to an alien. He was mad about you, but he was married to an alien. It was
this is the scene where he's telling Reese, "This is not my locker."
Oh yeah, that's from Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop, yeah,
because he was in Beverly Hills Cop, wasn't he? He was Eddie Murphy's
Yeah, I
partner,
was
wasn't
looking
he?
that up.
Yeah. And also, I
Really?
like the idea that they have the suit collars up. I thought that would come back.
I like the fashion.
That's because they're in the future. That's what they do in the future. They have different
that's
colours.
how they look there. Although I was wondering when she's giving her deposition, if she was like saying, "Why you got your collars up?" They weren't doing that when I left. Yeah, 57 years.
Probably.
So, sorry, Megan. We'll go over the opening movie. Megan, what was your thought?
Well, I watched this again this morning, and I still enjoyed it. But I actually, honestly, truly would say that I prefer the cut version. I think this version was quite slow. When
really?
it kind of slowed things down.
I really appreciated the
Yeah.
expanded vision.
Yeah, I can see why they cut stuff like Newt's family, with the father with the thing on his face and all that stuff. I can see why they cut it out because it wasn't really necessary, and in my opinion, it kind of slowed things down a bit. Also, because now so many years have gone by, you kind of see all the effects, and you see all these model effects, and you think, Space 1999, you think, Thunderbirds and stuff like that, and I don't think the effects hold up too well.
They don't. But you know what?
Yeah. But it's still cute though, and it still works.
That matter that the effects don't hold
No, it
up.
doesn't. It doesn't
They
at all.
really don't hold up at all. That's very true.
Yeah,
you can see the back projection as the
But also another thing that I noticed as well, which, and forgive me, I thought the acting was slightly bad from Sigourney Weaver, especially when she was in the meeting with all the people trying to justify why she blew up the ship. I don't know, just for some reason this morning, her performance didn't work for me.
Well, I think this movie is a lot more stylized than the original movie, right? So there, she had a lot more gritty realism. She didn't become the main character till the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But this one is it's all about the American coolness. It's all about.
I think she was far more realistic in the first one than she was in this one. Everything seemed so
the first one, she was a normal person trapped in an incredible situation.
Yeah,
here she's an action hero, right?
Big difference.
Maybe I just got out of my bed the wrong side this morning. I don't know. When I was watching, I was thinking, no, that acting is a bit grating to me. But anyway, I still love this film. I still love it.
There's a lot about it to love. A lot about it to love. Not least Bill Paxton, which I seem to have too many.
Yes. Yeah, he's great. He's great.
Great. Okay, Dan, what's your thoughts on the beginning of this movie?
Well, I actually haven't watched this week. I haven't had a chance to rewatch it, but I have seen it dozens and dozens of times. And I think, looking back to when I first saw this movie when I was about 12 or 13, it was one of those films when it came out in the mid-80s that I was slightly too young to be watching, really. If you were to, in the eyes of the BBFC, I was. But obviously I'd seen much stronger things in the video nasty era, and little things like that. Every time I do watch this film, that opening, it fools me every single time. Even though I've seen it over and over again, and there are very few films that manage to get me like that. I think American Werewolf in London is another one.
What do you mean for you? And for you in which way?
The dream sequence.
Oh, because it's very convincing. Because you do get the feeling like, oh my gosh, aliens are going to come out of Ripley and they're going to attack her. That's what the view. Because again, we're not thinking this is a franchise. We're thinking this is a sequel, which is in '86 wasn't as common as it is now. It's like if you had a good movie, that people would just let them be standalone movies up until around now, right?
Yeah, and in doing that, what Cameron does. There'd been he'd had a huge success with the Terminator, but the Terminator had only really been successful on the home video market. It wasn't successful in cinemas that I'm aware of, and so with this, he sort of immediately makes this big statement to the audience. I didn't see this in the cinema, but if I had have done it, it sort of grabs hold. That scene there, what it does is grabs hold of every viewer and says, "No, this is for real. You're going to have to hang on now." It immediately gets you. How can I put this? It's there's something primal about it. It makes you feel under threat right away, and that anything could happen.
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Well, James Cameron had something to prove, didn't he?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, it was a nightmare for him to shoot this movie because he was very comfortable shooting in America. Then all of a sudden he comes to England
and he can't understand the whole unions and tea break thing.
You can't, tea breaks. You can't understand tea breaks.
He's made a pine wood somewhere.
Right. They got the set perfect. They got the smoke perfect, and he was like, "Okay, let's shoot." And he's like, "No tea break." He's like, "What are you doing? Let's shoot the scene." And he got really in loggerheads with Pinewood with the unions.
Let's not forget, guys, as we discovered on Geek Lord Overmind last week, just 2-3 years before this, James Cameron had been sleeping in his car on a motel car park.
Ooh. Right, that is very true. Yeah,
extraordinary.
Yeah, and he was a very blue collar guy. That's really. He did. Was it Piranha? I think. Yeah,
the Spawning.
Yeah,
Piranha
just said the Spawning. Yeah,
Spawning. Yeah. There's an era movie to start with. I think I'm glad he got the break. Quite frankly,
what you just said about the blue collar thing, about the difference between American culture and British culture, I think Alien feels like a British movie, even if it's made with American money.
Well, there's more British actors than Alien, wasn't it? I mean, with John Hurt and can never pronounce his name. Pato Capate, the guy from Bond.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's a lot of British actors in this too, but it's much more full body. It's an evolutionary film as well, as you were just saying. It's to turn it into a franchise. I don't think it doesn't undermine the first film in any way. It evolves every single idea.
Am I mistaken thinking that the guy from Red Dwarf played the same character in Red Dwarf that he played in this film? The guy,
yes, he did.
I think he played the same character. I think, yeah.
Wait, McDonald?
I can't remember his name.
Oh, what are you talking about? But that's only in the special edition.
Yeah,
that's only the special edition. The Mac, whatever his name is.
His name is Mac McDonald. Yeah, he's an American actor. He's been living in the UK for years.
Yeah. He was the captain of Red Dwarf, and he was in one of the cut out scenes from the special edition. He played the guy in charge. Yeah, I've seen the special edition a lot of times. I didn't remember him in it at all. Basically the same guy. Basically the same character.
Same character. Yeah.
Fine. So I think sorry, I cut people off. Problem being, how do you? What's your thoughts on the opening?
I love this opening. I love the robot arm, and it cuts in. Cuts that door so exquisitely, and it comes in, and it's coming in with that laser, which was so big in that time. The sort of laser effect scanning, and I love that. It's still effective today, and it's so practical. You can imagine this as being a real life technology that they've developed, and that's what it is. It's grounded in something that's very tangible, very real, and you can really imagine that the future could look like that. And the scene where you see a sleeping face, and you see the contour of the planet. I think it's Earth.
Oh yeah, it's a lovely face.
It's a beautiful transition. Yeah, and it's gorgeous. And I disagree with Ian on that sort of scene where she's arguing her case. I can imagine that kind of frustration, and the look in her face is really one of complete. I can't believe I'm dealing with these shitheads. What am I dealing with here? Like, just fucking how many times do I have to look? She's been in that boardroom clearly for a long time. She is tired. She is in the sleeping pod. 52 years. Yeah, but she's been there arguing this over and over and over again. No one believes her. Well,
I think they all believed her, but nobody wants to take accountability, right?
I don't know. I mean, I just think, this is, she's over. She's covering her ass, and it's all a bit too unbelievable. And because I think it's a compartmentalized system. So whilst Burke probably does believe her and probably has heard of something like this before, there's probably a bunch of those people in power who have absolutely no idea. I think that's true to real life. I think that's how it works,
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Before we go forward, can I say hello to Alpha Omega? You are the Alpha. You are the Omega. Thank you for joining us. And Jamie Tipton, number 1. You get all those other Jamie Tiptons out of the way. Thank you for joining us. Was it problem being? Before I move on to Keith, can I ask you, could you contact Noel and tell him that we
I did ask
okay,
him.
fine. I was going to do it, but I can only do so many things at once.
He's
and my
asleep.
Fine. Keith, you're a bit of an aliens expert. What are your thoughts on the opening of this movie?
Well, I mean, I think it's definitely one of the greatest sequels ever, because not only does it respect the first film, but it does completely its own thing as well. So I love that. In terms of, I sort of half in terms of the special edition, I like stuff with the daughter and the sentry guns and those
Oh,
bits.
the sentry guns are awesome.
Awesome. The only bit I don't like is the fact that they show Rebecca Jordan or Newt, with her family at the beginning, because I just think that when they turn up to the planet and we haven't seen any of the life on the colony, it makes it much more like a sort of they're entering a haunted house and more sort of spooky if you haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I can make my own cut where I have the other bits from the special, but just that scene.
Wait, what other bits are there? Now you got me interested.
Well, the bits, I like the bit about her daughter, the extra stuff.
Oh,
there.
I have to say, but
the sentry guns.
Yeah, the sentry guns are great. This time watching it, I think because I'm more used to seeing like longer things like Netflix series rather than movies. So I liked all that bit where they showed you the life and the colony being alive and everything before, and then when you got the juxtaposition of seeing the devastation, it was I think a lot more.
And you get the Wayland Yutani sign as well, at the beginning of that scene, which is quite nice, and it ties it to the first film. But the other thing that I love about Cameron and Cameron's attention to detail is just from that opening scene when the salvage crew start cutting through the door. If you look very carefully, you can see the harpoon gun wedged in the bottom of the door from the first film. And it's just little things like that. Yeah, it's the fact that he has taken the time to get that spot on from continuity. I just think is excellent. So yes, this film is very hard to fault. Very hard to fault.
Respect for the first one. He had
it's insanely enjoyable. Here, one second. I just want to say, no, how are you? Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure when the Tardis so intersects with the video vault. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. Sorry I'm late. Bit of a busy day. I didn't know you changed the time. It was only when I checked my phone. I thought we were going live at 6, but I seen you'd moved it. So sorry about that. Should be paying more attention. But great movie. Hey Keith, hey Ian. Hey.
Oh yeah, you all right, mate?
Hey Lee, I'm good. Dan, how are you?
Hello.
Dan, I hope you've made the quiz a little bit easier now tomorrow. I can't go 3-0 down now. That would be embarrassing.
It's got to be your week this week. It's got to be your week this week, man.
It has to be, doesn't it? Great movie, though. I love this movie. And I like what Keith's talking about. I do like the extended cut a lot better for the simple reason is it does give you those little details. You do see the Connolly before it's actually turned into this, before you see the devastation. You see kids playing around on their little tree wheels. You see the parents go out and find the ship. So I liked all of that.
I quite like that as well.
Yeah. That's why I prefer the extended cut myself. Because you get those. I think it's 20 minutes extra or something you get. And then you find out the whole story about our daughter, and that's a bit of a sad moment. But this movie is flawless. I mean, even what Keith was saying about the attention to detail, this is why this movie worked, because he did put that attention to detail in. He didn't leave out. No, his movie was slightly different to the first one. Obviously, the first one was pure horror, in my opinion. The second one was a bit more action-based, but he had that horror element in it. And this movie so much works. I mean, look at that. There's the Queen. Oh, my God. I just love this movie.
Like, so much of this movie is James Cameron. We're looking at the Queen. He essentially designed the special effect. Like he worked out how to build this. There's so much of this stuff is just him. He's something amazes me that we haven't seen many more Space Marine type movies. This should have made genre. You've got like
Starship Troopers, and
Starship Troopers. How many of them is there, Ian? There's about 5 of them now, isn't there?
Yeah, straight to video. Some of them.
The other thing about this film is this was actually a really big deal to the home video marketplace because this was the first time really that a director's cut had been sort of made available on which was then VHS, and obviously it was followed up a few years later. Ridley Scott did it with Blade Runner, etc. But it really was the film. It really was the film that started that trend. And I remember, even when I was a kid, that was a real big deal that this was coming out as a special edition on home video. So it did it was kind of a forerunner for that as well.
Yeah. If you guys noticed the smoking, everybody was smoking.
Yes,
it's crazy to think about it today.
It's the thing that dates it, actually. I think is the flashlights, the computer screens, and the smoke. The three they're the only 3 things that sort of date this. Other than that, he's created a perfectly believable future, I think, with this. And but it is funny that the culture has kind of changed before.
Right, yeah. It's weird, isn't it? I mean, although
this one is very different from the first one. That's why it's so liked so much, that it doesn't copy the first one. When they do sequels, it's always kind of like a carbon copy of the first one. It's absolutely nothing like the first one whatsoever.
No. Right, exactly.
I wouldn't go that far, but I don't want to spoil it for Father Christmas.
I mean, it still had the horror element going through it, I think, but it was more action-based. But in saying that, look at all the cast; they all had a part to play. I mean, even Newt, I love her in it. I think she's brilliant in this movie. I mean, even Vasquez, she's brilliant. Buck, little slimy snake that he is, but you kind of like him sometimes, you can kind of you can see it from his point of view to a certain extent, what he wants to do, but he wants to use it as a bioweapon. But what he doesn't realize is, like in the later movies, you see they try that to try make them bioweapons. It just doesn't work. You can't control an alien, and
can't control dinosaurs either.
Yeah, true.
I agree with Noel there. I mean, I think that one of the things about this in terms of the writing and the characters is often these things have very sort of 2-dimensional archetypes or whatever, stereotypes in it, whereas this is the characters are sort of multifaceted, and you can kind of buy into people like Burke, and Corman and all those guys. So I think it really works. Hudson definitely.
We love Hudson.
The whole world they make is very very 3-dimensional.
I'll tell you what's funny, right? I'll tell you what's funny. I got hold of the screenplay before they shot this movie, before the movie was released, and when I was reading Hudson's parts, I thought it was a black guy. Because the things he says, let's get it on and stuff like that. I was like, this has got to be a black guy. Yeah. And then when I saw the film, it was Bill. I was like, Jesus, did I make a mistake or something?
He's brilliant in this movie, Bill Paxton. He's brilliant. And we just sadly lost him a while back. So, I mean, it was a bit watching his scenes especially. And, I mean, he has a great scene in this movie where they're waiting for the ship. They're obviously operating the ship to get off the planet, and it crashes, and he goes, "Game over, man! Game over!" What he's right, like you knew they were screwed. Like this movie. Look at this is flawless. It's like the first one. I think if the third one hadn't been interfered with, we would have got a decent trilogy. I think we would have got one of the best trilogies out there, but unfortunately we didn't, because Dave Fincher,
you know, people were interfered with his movie, his ideas. And he just, he just, as Keith said, he doesn't even recognize this movie. He hates this movie. He just doesn't want anything to do with it. And do you know what? It's not that bad. Keith was right. There are several stories in the movie, but there was a good movie there. I like the whole thing that she was stuck on a prison planet. But kind of, I don't know. For me, the end game was always to go to Earth, the aliens to get to Earth, and that's what we're going to do with Aliens 4 or Aliens 5, the movie that Ridley Scott wouldn't let your man make. That's where I wanted the end game. I wanted to see the aliens.
Wait, what's that? I wanted to make it that Blomkopf, that guy.
Neil
listen, I'm on two minds about it because I love District 9. Right, District 9, I thought was brilliant, and I think everything he's done since then has been unwatchable garbage, which is bizarre. Like Elysium was just
Elysium is deadly. What are you talking about?
No, coming together.
No, it's not. It shows you what the rich people, what it's like in the future with the rich living.
If they showed you 3 months after the end of that movie, you'll then see everybody is living in rubble, and it's like they got these special beds to heal people. Yet there's not resources for that. It's just. Basically, they're saying that will be the end of humanity if that happened, in my opinion. And also, listen, I'm not big into the whole class warfare. Rich people are arseholes or nice, in the same way that poor people are arseholes or nice, in my opinion, anyway.
Agreed.
Who's chiming in?
I was just going to say this is where she's learning how to use the gun in this one. I have to say I love it though, because even when she's like attacked, when you get to the end scene, which we will be talking about, and she's holding the gun, you can still see that she's a newbie, which I love. That they didn't make it that she's being taught how to use a gun. Now she knows how to use a gun perfectly. I'm glad that they left in the fact that she's still a bit, she's a noob basically. Nowadays, when they make movies and they do a sequence where someone's being taught how to use a gun, they're an expert.
Yeah. Keith, I want to ask you a question. Keith, those guns, did they use the Steadicam arm for those guns? Was that a Steadicam arm they used?
The incinerator guns or whatever.
The ones where they were like turning.
Yeah.
It was.
That's correct. It was a modified Steadicam arm, for that, which again, I think may have been an idea of Cameron's that he took to the art department. I think, but I might be giving him too much credit there. I don't know.
No. He invented he basically made everything. Something that I really, really loved it. I think this is also James Cameron is when she puts the clip into the gun, you see the little counter go up from like 0 to 20. I think that was a little James Cameron bit as well. Fine. Let's get back to the plot of the movie. It's so her daughter's dead, and she's been shot.
How does that make you laugh when her daughter is dead? I can laugh about that.
It's just like putting her in a reasonably bad situation. Her daughter's dead, and she doesn't have anything. She's got no job. She's working in the docks, and Carter Burke comes and seemingly rescues her by recruiting her onto this mission to go and check out what's happened to LV, whatever. What's it called again? Anybody know the name of the planet?
LV 426.
LV 426. There you go, Keith. I'm glad you're here. So then again, we're introduced to the Space Marines, who are just insanely cool. It's every cool stereotype you could possibly imagine for like American military. I do remember two things. But what was it? Not Desert Storm. It was like a 1990 Middle East war. What was that one called? I can't remember, but so you had like the English Marines like getting ready to go off to war, and the American Marines. This was on the news, and the American Marines were just like this. They're like, "Yeah, let's get it on, baby. We're gonna do it." And the English Marines like, "Oh, I'm a bit scared, really." It's like, so this is so much cooler. This is all just American coolness, and so they. My other big memory of this movie was I saw it in America before it came out in England. We were on vacation in America, and I begged my parents to take me to see this when it came out. And I love seeing this with an average American audience, which is exactly where you're supposed to see it. I mean, I remember this woman cursing out Carter Burke when he turned out to be a rat, and oh, that dirty rat. I just looked, yeah. This movie has a lot of fun nostalgia for it. So anyway, so they get to so we see a bit about Hadley's Hope. It's a lovely place. The captain of Red Dwarf's there. Children are going around on their little trikes where they shouldn't be, and Newt's parents are off discovering the ship from Alien. And then, by the something that really annoyed me when I saw this movie was they had that clip on Barry Norman's film show, like Film 85 or something, before it came out. And I loved that clip. I was like, oh man! And when I saw the movie, the clip wasn't in there, so I had no idea what was going on. So the Marines basically arrive. They save money on that effect shot of the Sulaco by only making half of it. Did you know that they only made side of the Sulaco to save money, and also the pods where people slept in was also like
it was a mirror, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a mirror. That's exactly
what a mirror there, so it multiplied a bit.
Right. So yeah,
and also another thing that I'd like to bring up is the sets. The sets that were designed very much. How would I describe it? Gunrel. It didn't look as sleek as the sets that was in the first movie. You know, the first movie had the cushions on the wall and stuff like that. It looked very much 2001-ish. But in this film, everything looks very mechanical. If you understand what I mean.
Everything looked like it was built from necessity, right? It was not. It was very. I guess with these kind of colonies, there was no budget to make things look nice. You just get bare walls and which just looks cool, And I believe, didn't the BBC buy these sets and use them in Doctor Who relentlessly?
I don't know. But they shot in Battersea Power Station. I know that for the ending sequence they shot in Battersea Power Station, which is not far from where I live actually. So. And they shot a lot of Red Dwarf and Battersea Power Station. They shot a lot of stuff in Battersea Power Station. So, right. And Batman, they shot the Batman, the Tim Burton film in Battersea Power Station as well. So,
right, which actually looks exactly like the comic book they base it on. It looks like the Acme, whatever it is, a chemical plant.
Axis chemical plant.
How are you doing, sir? Yeah. Fine. So the Marines arrive. We have that cool bit with Lance Hendrickson and the knife, Bill Paxton. But we're all just waiting for them to get onto that drop ship and get onto LV, whatever it's called. Fine. So we're about an hour into the movie at this point, 50 minutes in. Start with you, Keith. What was your thoughts from last time we spoke to this time?
I mean, I think it does a really good job of setting up the characters. I love that scene that you were talking about where they're all they've come out of their hypersleep and they're all having their sort of breakfast or whatever. You don't like the cornbread either, all that sort of thing. That whole
nice
setup. You get to, you get a good sense of who the characters are, and I think he does a really good job of that. The other thing coming on to the point that you made about this still feeling like it's in the alien world, but at the same time the design being quite different. I think that's another one of the genius moves about setting this 57 years after the first film is technology, design, all that sort of thing will have moved on. So that kind of makes sense as well and allows it to be its own style that way. But yeah, I mean, at this point of the film, I think it's super tense, super exciting. We know they're going to have to go and face the aliens, hence the title. And you know, we're like the differences in the film. I've always thought that first film was like a sort of haunted house movie on a spaceship, whereas this one is definitely a war movie, you know, with scary elements, but it's much more of an action war movie. And also, love it.
Also, we got to mention the genius that is the loader. The thing they go in there and they load up stuff. I mean, that's bloody genius. That is.
Well, not only is it a genius piece of design, but the other thing that's so great about that is it's perfect foreshadowing. Again, which a lot of films seem to sort of get this wrong nowadays, where suddenly somebody has the device that they need, and all this sort of thing. Whereas this is not only does it make sense in terms of like a future forklift truck type thing, but it's also perfect foreshadowing. We see how it works. So when we get to the end of the film, I know we're not there yet, but when we get to there, suddenly it makes sense and it hasn't just come out of nowhere. So
she knows how to use it.
It's called intelligent scripting. You know,
indeed.
You don't get that nowadays. That's very, very true. So something else that I think they really try very, very hard to do nowadays and fail, where this succeeded, is this is a very, very feminine action movie, isn't it? It's really based around like maternal instincts, about Ripley being the action hero, going to and she's not like a guy being played by a woman, right?
She's two soccer mums having a bitch fight.
Right. exactly.
Thing is, they're telling a story. They're not trying to sort of force any issue. They're telling a story, and it works. It's wonderful,
compelling, and it's so I mean, it's front and center the story and the character's journey through this nightmare, and there is nothing in there that really screams, this is a feminist movie. It doesn't.
No, but you know what it is? This is back when the weird media elite of the world wasn't trying to create a battle of the sexes. Yeah, this was back when men and women could like each other, and it wasn't considered weird. You know, like before all sanity went out the world.
And be seen to be cooperating, working together.
Yeah. Vasquez and Hudson are brilliant at that. You know, they do that back and forth banter, and it's great.
Yeah, I agree. Like today, they would never allow Hicks to show Ripley how to use a pulse rifle. That'd be mad, right? They're like,
Also, did you guys see did you guys notice animation in a couple of scenes? There's one where Ripley is in the low-loaded thing. She turns around in the background. You can see one walking behind, and that was all animation. And then when the ship was trying to land and those two things come out, that was definitely animation when it came out and stuff like that. So little things like that I noticed.
By the way, I love the pilot who was in it for basically 2 scenes. Whatever her name was. I know Spunkmeyer was the person with her.
What a weird name.
It's a bit weird. Like Americans don't know what that means.
No, they don't.
What does it mean?
Anybody else?
I don't want to know. Leave me in my ignorance.
It's a colloquial
ejaculate
term for semen.
No, I don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very bad word. It's a very
that's why I use the scientific word. So.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody figure out?
It's okay.
Anybody figure out what
semen?
I'm just saying that's the
seminal fluids.
By the way,
thank you.
What you call a fanny pack in America is not what we call right?
Fanny is the front bottom.
Anybody figure out what that meant? We're in the pipe 5 by 5. Anybody figure out what that meant?
I know exactly what that meant. I know
what
exactly. They're talking about the pipe is the descent trajectory that will take them through the wind shear, right? And
right.
They're in the pipe by 5. It's so cool. Everything about this movie is freaking cool. we spoke about this last night on the stream a little bit. There was this was an alien experience in London in the Trocadero, which no longer exists. Much to my my breath. I can't believe the Trocadero's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, what's there in its place now?
Just people selling knickknacks and stuff, and it's all gone. It's all gone.
Yeah, it's a really really tacky tourist store, isn't it? Now.
I used to work there when it was Rock Circus. When it was
I remember that too.
Yeah. So you
I had rock around the clock for around the clock for like 10 hours straight. It was amazing.
That was basically was it Jack Rabbit Slims from the other week. Yeah, when Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
This thing you could actually be an alien, and you had all those cool like American Marines being American Marines. That's very cool. Anyway, but essentially they have lots of tension. You think an alien's going to show up, it does, and it turns out to be Newt. And then finally they find the colonists, and we get their first big action scene where they go and engage. We have engaged the Borg. No, we have engaged the aliens. And they're and all. Yes, fantastic. Fine. So, Father Miller, what's your thoughts on this big action scene? The first one.
Wow. but seriously, what came to mind was the Doctor Who Christmas special with the face crab.
Well, they ripped it off.
Of course, they ripped it off.
Which
they also the other Doctor Who story. What was it the Ood one? Impossible Planet, where they're going down the ducts. That totally ripped off Aliens. But
see, I remember the Starburst magazine, the one edition I had, the American science fiction magazine. It's a cartoon of like a Sigmund Freud style psychiatrist, and the guy lying on the couch. He's got this alien face hugger on his face, and the psychiatrist is asking, "So, how long have you been feeling alienated?" I love that. It's great cartoon.
My pet's bothering me.
Okay, so as I said, I never saw the first one, but there's parts of the first one that I know of that, like I said, it's become part of the popular culture. The idea of the face creature, but just to see the whole. I don't even know how to phrase it. Just seeing them cocooned, I never knew that. The other thought that came to mind was the image I posted on your Facebook thing of the Superman Batman one.
Yes, I saw that. That's pretty funny.
That's about is that from the first movie then?
I think it's
from
the
alien comes out of the mouth.
You saw that a little bit with the Alien Queen. They got like this tongue inside themselves, inside their mouth, which has like. That would like pump in pop somebody's skull when he would hold it.
Well, let's put it this way: in the first movie, you see the alien, you see the mostly the head, and and there's a shot in it where it's really slow, and the tongue comes out, and he's got another tongue within his mouth and stuff. Yeah. So that's just very iconic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say, but it just flowed evenly for me.
Yeah.
I did not realize this was a special edition, so I appreciated all the scenes from what you guys have said that were not in the original part.
Yeah. No, it definitely adds a lot more story to it. Yeah. I was saying, because again, I haven't seen this movie for years and years, but I was very impressed with how can I say it? How James Cameron, his mastery of his direction, like everything is just every image, every shot is framed and timed absolutely perfectly to give so you don't notice it, to give you this kinetic thrill ride, which is just fantastic. I mean, really, I can't believe he was really at the top of his game on his like second real movie, right? I mean, this was
before Terminator, wasn't it?
Sorry.
This was before Terminator, or was Terminator first?
Because of Terminator.
Okay.
In fact, because Terminator went well, he that gave him the clout to say, "I want to do this movie." Right? That I believe that. Keith, is that correct?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, he wrote Terminators and Rambo First Blood Part 2 sort of all at the time, and sold them as scripts for, and then he was able to do Terminator, and then of course because of the success of that was able to then turn it into directing Aliens as well. But originally I believe he just a writer on it to start with, the screenwriter.
So did he approach the studio, or did the studio approach him? I think he approached the studio, didn't he?
I think Ridley Scott was pissed off that they didn't approach him.
I bet he was. Although, you see, that's what I kind of like, which I know is a controversial opinion. I liked about Covenant. It seemed to be Ridley Scott doing Aliens.
Covenant was rubbish. Come on. It was absolute rubbish.
I enjoyed it.
It really was. Well, that explains you then, doesn't it?
I have No, do you have any thoughts on this action sequence?
Sorry?
I was going to ask, do you have any thoughts on this action sequence?
Can you hear me?
I can.
He's woken up. Noel.
Can you hear me?
We can now, yes.
I don't know what's going on. I've been talking for the last few minutes and it's...
You were on mute.
Really?
Yeah, I was trying to tell you that Brandywine actually approached James Cameron after the success of Terminator. They're the ones that approached him. Originally, it was supposed to be planned for 1983, the sequel, but they put those plans on hold when Paramount or 20th Century Fox or something took over, or something like that. There was some sort of takeover. So then after Terminator's success, then obviously then they approached him to take the director's job, and he had a budget of 18 million. And most of it was filmed in London, Pinewood Studios, and on a disused some sort of bleeding
sound stage.
Yeah. So, and if I'm correct in saying, which I didn't read though, but if I'm correct in saying he used some of the set that he had in Terminator, some of the equipment in Terminator in Aliens as well. I think that's how he was able to cut down some of the budget as well. He used some of the props from Terminator, especially when you see the Future Wars, in Terminator.
Right. When you see,
the props that were used in that sequence were used in Alien.
The Hunter Killer from Terminator really has the same design aesthetic as a dropship. You can see it's
and
the
don't
same.
Forget the set for Aliens. Where they're running through all those corridors. They were later used by Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the BBC production. Yeah, because the set was still there, and the BBC obviously not having the money to do the Vogon spaceship interior, so they used the Aliens soundstage.
I heard like the story. I said it earlier that I believe that the BBC bought the set for Aliens and they used it in every sci-fi show they had. Over and over again, and you can kind of see it as well. You know, those panel doors. What was I just going to say about Alien? I can't remember. Cannot remember. Fine. So awesome action sequence, and then everything gets a lot worse. The few survivors call for the dropship, and again, one of my favorite scenes, one of my absolute favorite scenes is which is Spunkmeyer, where are you? And the door opens up, and it's the alien. I close up the alien. She reaches for a gun, and it cuts to the blood splattering on the window, and a hand like scraping it. I just love that scene. And then you see the dropship crash, and they all run from the back projection. So they don't get hit by nothing, so they have to work out what to do, which leaves Bill Paxton saying, "Game over, man! Game over! We're all going to die."
But if they didn't burn that alien that came out of that woman, then the aliens wouldn't have woke up and kill them or kill the majority of them in it. Remember in that scene when they found the woman in a cocoon? And she's like, kill me.
I think that could be described as an own goal. Yes, I think that's
yeah. But that was a good scene. A really terrific scene. You know, it was very, the tensions were high for them to get out of it, that place.
Yeah, again, fantastic. Listen, Ripley becomes the action hero when Gordon loses it, drives in with the APC. Again, the model work I just really enjoyed. Like I could tell they're remote control models.
Yeah.
But really enjoyed watching them go.
Yeah.
I want one of those little APCs with a fire on the side, and I get. Although I didn't understand how it ran over the alien and it didn't like corrode the wheels and it fell off and the wheel fell. That didn't make any sense. But who cares?
No.
It's too much fun. You're having it's a thrill ride of a movie. Fine. So then we get a bit of a lull as they work out the plan. We get the fantastic scene with the sentry guns. I love that scene. And it's, again, such economical storytelling. You just have a close up of the guns, and that's it. And you don't have to see the aliens because you know what's going on. That was fantastic.
But suddenly it made like, you know, the half or 15 aliens that they actually had, you know, created for the film seemed like 500 aliens. You know what I mean? It turned dozens into hundreds, which again was a genius piece of storytelling and you know, shot, like you said, very economically, but just making the whole thing feel on a grander scale. And again, wonderful direction there.
Also, I don't know if you guys I thought some of the makeup effects in this didn't look as good as Alien 1. In Alien 1, they really looked real, especially when the egg opened up and you thought, that looks really real and organic. But in this one, it felt, I don't know, it's all squishy and you know, rubbery and I don't know.
You could tell H.R. Geiger wasn't there telling them what to do for everything. This was a non-genius interpretation of a genius's work, right?
You know, when it was coming out of Ripley's, you know, in when she was in the hospital, her stomach seemed to stretch and it looked kind of rubbery and. Do you know what I mean? Unlike John Hurt, when it came out of John Hurt, it kind of. Yeah.
If you don't know it the first time, you're like, what's going to happen?
No. I'm only looking at it this way because I've seen the movie, and when I saw it again this morning, I noticed all these things that it looks the effects was very different. It didn't look so organic as the first one. You know what I mean? It's just little things I noticed. That's all. Yeah.
I mean, also the alien like incrustation things they put in the reactor. It didn't look as good as I feel it did in the first one as well.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But again, it's got its own design aesthetic, and I just kind of like went along with it. Kind of happily, actually. Fine. Yeah. So then we get. I think the next bit of that I really also enjoyed is the bit where we have New and Ripley. They're bonding a bit. They go to sleep in the lab, and they wake up and find the face huggers have been released. And so I just thought that was really, really well done.
Especially when it's running across the floor.
Yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah. And if you watch the making of, the facehuggers were not very realistic, except when they got the you had to film it at exactly the right time so the joints of the fingers seem like they were moving it along. Yeah. Otherwise, it looked like just completely fake. So another just great piece of direction. Great piece of coolness as Hicks shoots out somebody shoots out the window and Hicks jumps through it, heroically. Yeah, there's just no embarrassment of old school heroism in this movie, which I just love it, And today we're just too embarrassed of it, and I think we should I really think if they just did a really, really old fashioned mid 80s pure heroism, masculine, feminine, without being ashamed of nothing being fluid.
They won't finance something like that today, unfortunately.
You know what? I was listening today to the Big Finish release, the first Time Lord Victorious Doctor Who release, and of course it's revolving around a lesbian couple. Please, for once, have a straight couple for once. Always have to be and again. Who are you trying to convince that being gay is okay? There's no one in the world that's gonna that's gonna tell you.
We know.
Yeah, exactly. If I may quote the Family Guy Star Wars, they said it was a long time ago, back when being gay was okay, but they weren't in your face about it.
But nobody's mentioned Bishop, because I thought the guy who plays Bishop, I can't remember his name now. He was fantastic. Yeah. I mean, there's that scene in it where he's looking at the face hugger and the guy comes in, Bishop, do you want anything else? And he looks at him mysteriously. And you think, is he going to be like Ash? But he isn't.
Yeah, but they do play around with it, don't they? And I think the reveal of it being Paul Reiser as the bad guy was very good. Yeah, Bishop, he was great. And also he got himself a bunch of supporting roles in how many future movies? What? He was in Alien 3. He was in
Terminator
Alien versus Predator.
He was in the very first Alien versus Predator movie. He was actually very good in that. The extended version is much better at that movie than the one that they released.
I love that.
Again, the extended version gives you a bit more history. Yeah,
the first one, I adore it. Yes,
same here, Dan.
I thought it was like
bad rep, doesn't it, Dan? But it is. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's brilliant, man.
I love the fact that he played Charles Ship Wayland. So he was the founder of Wayland Corporation. But also the model for the Bishop android, which kind of makes sense. You know, the whole hubris thing totally makes sense. Love that.
Also, the effects that they used at the ending when he got snapped in half.
Yeah,
that was really great, wasn't it? I mean, even you could tell it were models and stuff, but it looked really good.
He's brilliant in this movie. You're right. He's brilliant in Aliens. He gets a bit overlooked, I have to be honest, because if you do play around with the idea, is he going to be like Ash or is he going to be good? I mean, when Ripley is on the platform with Newt and the platform is about to go, and then she goes, "God damn you, Bishop," because she thinks it's dead. And then he comes back and he saves her and you're there and you're delighted because you didn't want him to go the same way as Ash. You wanted him to be good, and the fact that he was, I loved that as a kid.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I just want to say hello to Lonnie Webb. How you doing, mate? I hope that everybody go and check out Lonnie's Indiegogo. Ninja Knight, how you doing? Oh, by the way, if you like movies with kick-ass female leads, go check out Mega Geek's channel. He's got a freaking fantastic movie on it. What would you do with $18 million? Like, he made this for £8,000. It's freaking awesome. I absolutely love it. I can't imagine what you do with 18 million, which is a micro budgeted movie nowadays. But like, okay, so if you like your kick-ass female action heroes, go check out his channel. In fact, go check out Avery's channel. They're all in the video. They're all in the link. All the links are in the video notes. And actually, you know what I'm telling you to go check stuff out, please hit the subscribe button. If you subscribe, of course, I generally do this at the beginning of it, but an hour in, better late than never. You can enter the competitions. Let me make myself big. Here I am. This week, competition time. You can win Red Razors, awesome graphic novel, and Shakara, freaking nuts graphic novel. The Earth is destroyed in the first page. The last human is killed on the third page. That's the type of thing. What you need to do to win it is subscribe to the channel, and in the comments leave the hashtag Zarjazz, and that could be yours. We're giving this away on Noel's channel on the 18th when we're watching Gridlock, and then we're going to pick out a new prize. Fine. I'm sorry?
Did you say Zardoz? No,
not Zardoz. Zarjazz. Zarjazz is is a word from the mythical language of Tharg the Mighty, the editor of 2000.
I was going to say, I just watched Zardoz for the first time the other night.
Wow, you've had an interesting week.
That was disturbing.
Yes, it was. Listen, Sean
Connery and a mankini.
Yes, that's right.
Although, if you're going to watch a Sean Connery sci-fi movie, I would recommend Outlander. Is it Outlander?
Highlander.
Highlander.
No, Highlander.
Outland. Yes. Yeah.
Which is High Noon in Space.
That's what it is. Yes, of course. He's very good in it. Very, very good in it.
Fine. Oh my God, we're around 10 minutes in. So I think we're basically we've got to the part now where they got to escape the aliens. A fantastic bit of storytelling, a fantastic bit of direction, like a fantastic thing that they added into this movie. They did it a little bit in the first one, but this one they knocked out the park. Was the motion detectors, because you got that fantastic scene where they barricaded themselves in, and the aliens are going boop, 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 and they see them coming, and they don't know where they are. They can see they're in the barricade, they're in the room with them, but they don't know where they are. And they look up. They see the gun pointing up. They look up, and they're coming through the ceiling. And we're in another awesome action sequence as they have to escape the many aliens. This is basically a video game as a movie before they make video games. What's the video in the chat? Darren M, how you doing, mate? Thank you for joining us. Oh, somebody else.
Yep, Doom and all the sort of first-person shoot ups would be nothing without this movie.
Who would be? What would be nothing without this movie?
Those first-person shoot 'em up kind of games.
Exactly.
That's really started.
Even the gun design is pretty similar. So then we get another. It was original then, but now it's a trope of escaping through the air ducts, right? They're going through the air ducts trying to escape the aliens. Vasquez gets a foot melted. The Gorman, the Chinless Wonder commander redeems himself. He goes back to save her, gets trapped by aliens, and they blow up together in another great bonding scene as combat brings two people from different classes together as they destroy themsells. So to give people the hope of getting away. They make it to they nearly make it out, and in one again another iconic scene, which I think we got a picture from. Yeah, we go. Iconic scene, gets separated and kidnapped by one of the aliens. One of the aliens. Setting Sigourney Weaver onto her iconic action hero finale as she tapes two guns together and goes.
That's like Rambo, isn't it? Where she's getting all pulled up. She's like got the gaffer tape out. She's taping stuff to her gun and all that, without the muscles, of course.
Right, but puts but he cuts that harness on of everything.
You expected to have a head.
But this is where she takes the lead. But this is where she takes the lead in the movie, and the build-up of the first and the second movie has culminated to this scene here, right? So, because you've seen her, she gets trained how to use the gun and all that. All the experiences that she's had has led up to this. She knows that Newt is still alive, that the alien doesn't impregnate them straight away. So there's a chance that she's still alive. So this is our moment, and let's be honest about it. It's one of the most iconic moments. Yeah. The way the alien looks at the alien.
They ask the question, don't they? Where do the aliens come from? And you get an answer. You get an answer when you go down there. You see the answer.
And that reveal is one of the greatest in cinema history. I mean, it's just the way that you follow their look.
But just the breathing of the alien, because you don't see the alien yet, but you can hear the breathing, and then you see
an egg being plopped out,
and you just see their head lift up. And when you see that iconic head lift up, and you just see how massive this thing is, you're like, oh shit, you need to run. You need to run. But she doesn't. They look at each other, they stare each other out, because the alien knows who she is. The queen knows. And she's there and she looks at her, and then she just lets all hell breaks loose. And it is just I
think the best bit though is when she's shown that she's got this fire weapon.
Yeah.
And the queen mother is just like, oh fuck, right? So you've got these two alien sort of sentries standing by either side, and she's like, okay, you bugger off. I do like the way she's backing out. She's backing out, and then she just gives her that. She just turns her head slightly. She tilts her head, giving her that look.
Yeah.
And then she just like sets fire to all the eggs, and it's just like, wow.
It is. It's one of the best scenes ever. Oh my god, this movie is sensational. Sorry, it still is today.
It really, I watched it today. I can't remember the last time I saw it. I was so entertained. I was so
okay. You forget about the little, as Ian had brought up. You forget. Okay, the part where the stomach, it does look a bit rough, but I think you forget all of those things because the storytelling. There's so much going on. It distracts you from
But I prefer the practical effects thing to the CGI in Alien 3, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, again, just the strength of the story, and I think it's James Cameron's passion, which is really, I think, more than anything, just carries you through it. It just totally carries you through it, and again, his mastery of direction. This is just,
and the editing as well. The editing is so good because it never really gives you that full glimpse of the alien, you know, like the man in the suit kind of thing that we got with the Alien movie. This is more getting back to giving you a glimpse of the horror, and they look far more alien than the first film. I mean, they look really, really quite starkly different, but you never get a real sort of long look at any of them apart from sort of towards the end with the alien queen. But it's stunning.
Yeah, that was done deliberately because obviously they were using a lot of animatronics and stuff like that. The making of this movie is actually fascinating. You should check it out. They have a making of this movie.
And it's great.
It's absolutely fascinating. And the things that they did to try get these shots, and you're looking and you're saying, holy, because you don't think by looking at it that this shot is going to work. And then when you see the finished product, you're like, wow. And he did have a passion. That's the thing about James Cameron about this. He took this on, and while he wanted to make his own movie, he did try keep some of the elements of the Force movie, which I like. He kept that horror element going through. There was that horror element.
You know, I always take this movie as this is James Cameron watched Alien, loved it, and he wanted to do his own version. And it really his own version because it's so uniquely, So let me just say hello to Monster Fan. How you doing? Thank you for joining us. And Decaf Java. There, it took me a minute, but I got it. Decaf Java. I'm sorry, it took me a second to work it out. Thank you for joining us. Keith, do you have any thoughts on this first of the two finales?
Sorry, say that again.
Keith, do you have any thoughts on this? The rescue newt scene from and them escaping the planet.
Yeah, I mean, I just again. Beautifully executed. It's one of those. It's a bit of a trope, I guess, since where you think everything's over and back to normal, and then obviously something else happens, and the monster comes back, as it were. I know they sort of did that in the first film as well, obviously, so that is one of the similarities.
Yeah, but they did it. I think they did it better in this one, quite frankly. In fact, the plot of the movie is very similar. Of the end of the movie, it's very similar to the plot of the first movie. I mean, that's pretty fair. In fact, I do love the scene when they're escaping from the alien queen, and she sees the elevator arrive for her, and she's going to get in it, and they just get out one time. They get into the dropship, and it takes off as the huge nuclear explosion happens. Only way to be sure, nuke them from orbit. Although they didn't have to nuke them from orbit.
Well, somebody I think that definitely deserves some mention here as well, because it helps this film work is sadly he's no longer with us, but the composer James Horner, who did did the soundtrack, the score for this, because a lot of the music cues of this has been used for trailers and stuff for other movies, because it's really good at sort of building up to the crescendo. And,
that scene where the dropship's taking off.
Exactly.
That cue is
sample to hell.
On everything.
This movie is one of the most, you've got a hit in your hand when your movies are sampled by all these sort of fringe industrial style bands and stuff, which is, it is, when you got a song and it's just filled with references to a particular movie. It's a real big homage to the sort of underground fans who love this kind of stuff as well.
Right. It's some great model work at the ending with the Queen. And I love the bit where she basically tells her to back off when she uses her flamethrower at the eggs. She doesn't burn the eggs. She tells,
right. I like
back off. and all the aliens just back off because, if you come in, I'm going to burn all your children, basically. So there's some wonderful moments in that scene. Definitely wonderful moments.
There's one of my favorite scenes.
So so now we're on to the boss fight at the end.
That's great. But that famous line, "You stay away from her, you bitch."
Yeah,
iconic. Stay away from her. And
so when Alien 3 came out, they had the tagline, "The bitch is back."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, why are you calling Sigourney Weaver a bitch?" They said, "No, about the Alien Queen." Although there was no Alien Queen in Alien 3.
Well,
this incredible scene with the loader. You know what? Let's go through the panel. Father Miller, what was your thoughts on the end of this movie?
Movie cat fight.
Yeah, soccer moms.
I do remember this. Like I said, just as the aliens popping out of John Hurt, I do remember this image of Sigourney and whatever that thing is called,
Xenomorph,
repeated all over the years. Amazing. The only thing that I question is I'm surprised she's able to hang on once the airlock is opened.
Yeah.
Well, again, she's holding on, and so thank God her shoe came off, right? Otherwise,
her leg would have come off.
her leg would have come off instead. Although I'm sure they must have made an action figure of the
they did,
power, right?
They did, yeah, they did.
I would love one of those. That's just a cool thing.
But no, it's a great conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely. Mega Geek, what's your thoughts on the ending?
I just love the ending. I love the model work because I appreciate special effects, and I love the model, especially when she's holding it and she tries to put it in the hole. That is obviously a model. But I love the bit where Newt is below and the alien's picking up all the trying to get her and stuff like that. Because that's pure horror stick, isn't it? Because you see that stuff in horror movies.
I'm coming like to get you.
Yeah, and I've seen behind the scenes of this stuff. They're definitely the puppets, puppets with sticks on their legs. That obviously it's below the frame to make it walk and stuff like that. Especially when the alien hits the boxes, that's purely a model. I remember seeing it in the cinema, not realizing it was a model because you were so much into the film. But when you watch it again, you can see all the model work and stuff like that. But it's a pretty bloody great ending to a terrific movie.
It really is.
The only thing I had issue with was because you see as the ship is leaving, the ship that's piloted to leave the planet is leaving. Because I know how it ends, so I'm looking for where it could have gone in, attached itself to get in underneath the landing gear, but it just didn't. You couldn't see anything.
Oh, sorry. By the way, there was they made a horrible error when the alien fell out of the airlock. Basically, they had this big black sheet, right? And they had like people holding a black sheet, and they dropped the alien model, but the sheet couldn't hold it, so it destroyed the model. And they didn't get the shot. So the shot when he lets go of her leg is the destroyed model as it falls again. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. I learned that a couple of days ago.
That's one of my favorite shots of the movie is the aliens like spinning away from the Slacker.
You don't notice. You don't notice
his little hands going.
Apparently, that's true. Apparently, one of the visual effects people were talking about.
Dr. Scott 2, how you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us. Dan, what's your thoughts on the end of this movie?
Just like the beginning, it's incredibly adrenalized, crowd pleasing. It doesn't stop. It stops. I mean, it pushes you right to the very limit of what you can take, doesn't it? As regards tension, excitement, and stakes. Because you're so invested in Ripley, Newt, and Hicks. It's incredible. The word powerful doesn't come close. And if you have to be really cynical about this, and I'm sure that sometimes this film gets played to non-geeks, and maybe they cross their arms about it all. I don't know, but because when you explain what actually happens, pretty much what you'd expect happens. But James Cameron, it's him. This is him at the height. Somebody mentioned it earlier. The height of his powers, just formidable. Every single frame of it, and the edge of your seat the entire time. The loader. I mean, what an incredible creation that is. It's unmissable, and that's what. Just one of the many reasons why this film is a standout classic, visually, in particular. I just love every single frame of it.
Right. Yeah, I can't argue with you at all. Problem being, your thoughts on the end of this movie?
Hey, Hicks survived, and that's all I care about.
For about a minute and a half into the next.
Good Lord, he's so good looking. Anyway, this is a masterclass on how to write a female character, a strong female character. And I think Hollywood really needs to look at this as a not as a template, but definitely as a guide, really.
Every scriptwriter in Hollywood needs to study this movie.
Well, funny you should say that, probably, because I'm struggling to think of any characters at all, including any characters that are written and developed as well as Ripley is in the first one, and particularly in this film.
She's compelling to watch. She's really she's a grafter. You can tell she's totally involved in this part, and she sells the whole thing. Just her eyes alone, you can see something really ticking away behind there. And you see that transformation. She's facing her nightmare right there in front of her again, and she steps it up a level, completely. And
it's a shame they all died, though, isn't it, in the third one?
Wait.
That's
no spoiler. That happened in the first 30 seconds. The first 30 seconds. You haven't been spoiled for the third one. Trust me.
Okay. Nice one, Ian. Okay. So, I mean, the ending is a bit like a replay of the first one. It's the airlock. But I mean, how else are you going to do it? I guess. But I mean, as I said before, the alien queen being that massive, you don't see any sign of this thing attached or, in the ship. So it just seems that's a little bit of a stretch, but it was nicely done when it sort of came out, and the first sign of it is you see Bishop being impaled by the tail and then ripped apart. That was just extraordinary, and the whole scene, with the loader and everything was just, it's just filled with one moment after another of instant classic. It's just written throughout this entire film. Yeah.
Keith, what's your thoughts on the end of this movie?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just going to gush like everyone else because no, seriously, I mean, everything is earned. It makes sense. It's surprising, but at the same time, everything was set up, as we've already mentioned. The loader was set up early in the film. Everything pays off, and in terms of the sort of character development that we're talking about with Ripley, I mean, I've got to hats off to James Cameron. He does a similar thing with the Terminator franchise with Sarah Connor when it comes to Terminator 2 Judgment Day, of making the character of Sarah Connor has evolved over that time, and he's done exactly the same thing, with Ripley here between the two films. So I just absolutely love it, and I will put out there, in case people aren't aware, something that's worth checking out is William Gibson did a version of Alien 3, which heavily featured the character of Hicks, and Audible did actually do an audio drama of this, directed by Dirk Maggs. Yeah, last year or the year before.
Count me in.
Lance Henriksen and Michael Biehn both reprised roles.
Get out of here! I'm going to listen to that.
And trust me, it's well worth your listening time. It's like about a 4-hour audio drama, and it's well worth checking out. A fan of
Rabbi,
this movie, and you want it to be a continuation of and by the way, I'm not being paid by Audible for this, but I'm plugging it anyway. So yeah, it's well worth checking out if you enjoyed these characters and wanted to see more of them.
Okay, I will totally. I knew they did it as a comic book. I didn't know they did it as an audio. I will definitely get that. Look, sounds fantastic. So no, do you want the last word on this movie?
What can I say? Everybody has already said it. The ending, as Keith has said, everything was earned, and there is a payoff for the audience. And it's just look at the growth and development of Ripley from the first movie to this movie. You could see the character development. She was well-developed character. Every other character in it as well had a part to play. And again, because they were written so well, you'd hate them 1 minute and then you'd love them the next minute, especially with Burke. Like, I know he was a slimy little snake, but you could kind of understand from his point of view what he was trying to do, even if it was morally wrong. It was still, and then you do actually feel sorry for him when he dies. You don't want him to die, like saying, well, he kind of deserved it. But the end of this movie,
I wanted him to die.
Fantastic. Look at 2 movies. You've got 2 movies there. Brilliant. And then after that, then it kind of goes a bit on the wayside. But I'd recommend these 2 movies.
They are good movies to recommend. So, okay, I think this one, I think we're all pretty positive on.
Yeah.
Are you ready to see what the choices are for next week?
Yes.
Please don't let it be that one.
Gravity.
Choice number 1. Get ready. Hang on, everybody. Get ready.
Okay, go on then.
I knew it!
I knew he was going to do that. No,
it's going to be Gravity. What?
Gravity.
I think it's unfair that you keep bringing this up. This is I'm not going to pick it. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's your opinion. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Give it a bad review.
Listen,
I'm not sitting through it. I'd rather eat my own feces than watch this movie.
Really? Well, that's
and that one's called Toilet Room.
That's toilet humor.
Okay,
Yeah.
So is Noel going to eat poop, or is he going to like the next movie? Let's find out when we reveal the next movie.
Oh.
Well, I mean, there's no competition.
Right, listen, there's no competition here. This is one of the greatest movies of all time.
He's going to put up another movie, right?
No,
Pacific Rim was a joke, right? Pacific Rim was a joke.
I think he's using Pacific Rim to steer us to
exactly.
Right, I can guarantee that everybody on the panel is going to pick.
About it so much.
Well, you've already lost. You've lost. The whole panel is going to pick The Fifth Element because if they actually love filmmaking and they actually like a good story and they actually like great sets, they're going to pick this movie.
Well, another movie.
Okay, wait, let's go through the panel. Father Miller, what's your choice?
I've never seen Pacific Rim.
I've
seen The Fifth Element and I love it, so maybe I'll torture you.
Excuse me, you're not supposed to torture people. You're supposed to be nice.
I'm not a saint yet.
Not yet. When you go to hell, if you put me through hell.
Maybe your choice.
Why are you picking Pacific Rim, Father?
Hold on, so
let's see what the rest of
the choice is between Pacific Rim and this. Because you keep bringing up Pacific Rim. That's not fair. You should have 2 different movies.
Exactly. Well done, Ian. Ian's with me. That's fair. It's not fair that you keep bringing this other movie up. You should be picking another movie to go with this and not Pacific Rim. No,
come on, put up another movie. Put up another movie. Then we'll have a real choice.
Them's the rules.
Then it has to be The Fifth Element then.
I'll find the Fifth Element. Dan, what's your choice?
I've never seen Pacific Rim either. I'd quite like to see that.
Well done,
I love The Fifth Element, but I've seen it a lot of times. I genuinely don't mind, but I'd like to see the Pacific Rim, and I'd happily.
Okay, Pacific Rim. Father Miller, where are you right now? Pacific Rim or Fifth Element?
I better not say.
Fine,
no, go on. No. Listen, I'm not going to
go on.
I've already seen Fifth Element a number of times too.
Right, so you're going with Pacific Rim, so that's
sure,
2.
Why not?
Just stick to your guns, will you? Stick to your guns, right? You're going to hell now for that. For putting you through hell. Just remember that now. God's not going to forgive you for it.
Well, you know what? If we this thing is going to keep haunting us unless we get it out the bloody way.
No, it's not fair. You shouldn't be put. This is 3 weeks in a row now. It's supposed to be different movies, man.
But I can't in good conscience, so I'm going to go with Fifth Element.
Fifth Element. Right. We have what was it? So 2 Fifth Element, 1 Pacific Rim, 1 we'll come back to. Keith, you want to join us next week if you want, but you get it. You're on the panel. You get to choose. What's your vote?
Well, I've got to be honest. This is controversial, but I'm not really a fan of either of those 2 movies, to be perfectly honest with you. But
you don't need to be a fan.
I guess if I had to watch one again, I'd probably give The Fifth Element another go.
Okay, so we got what's that? 3 for Fifth Element. No, I take it you're going to be Fifth Element.
Definitely. Fifth Element. No way I'll go to Pacific Rim.
Miller, just actually, where would you go now?
I'll be merciful and say Fifth Element.
Okay, it's the Fifth Element.
Now, can we finally now agree that you don't pull up Pacific Rim anymore?
That's going to be a thing. You got to check it out. It's a great.
I watched it. I don't lie. You can't be making us watch movies that none of the panel like except you. You've all made it clear we don't like.
It might make a good discussion.
It's that time thing. I think I'll make a good.
That's why I was kind of thinking, just get out of the way. Get it out of the way.
Oh, Lee, I should have listened to you, man, because he's not going to give up on this, is he?
No, he's not.
It's not every week, but it will be coming back at some point.
It's like High Rise. He made us watch High Rise, and that film.
You think he would have, like, after putting us through High Rise, he'd actually have a bit of sympathy for us, but no, it's sadistic, man.
Luftoff offers a really good idea. Excalibur, is that going to turn up anymore?
Yeah, that's actually a good movie.
That's a good movie.
I actually, and it's before I joined you guys, I actually would like to have seen High Rise.
Yeah, well, you know what? After watching it, you're probably
that's not for you. That's not for you. I'm glad. I wouldn't suggest that with you in the panel. I really it's not
that bad.
It's not morally ambiguous. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's not just that. There's just lots of very dirty stuff going on for half the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like
in other words, a lot of people going to hell.
Well, yeah, they kind of create hell, but that's what it is. Yeah, no. I'd say save yourself. Although I quite enjoy yourself. Right. So next week it is Fifth Element.
And then the week after that will be Pacific Rim because he won't give in, so we'll just get it done and over with. So the week after that, you already know what the movie is because he's not going to let this go. So we're just going to watch it next week, the week after.
Before we go, I want to pull up one news story. I'm going to do a video about it tomorrow. But this is what I want to say what I think about it. I want to know what everybody else thinks as well. Hang on, I'm pulling it up. It is.
Is this you, Fullerton, being an idiot again?
No, Hugh Fullerton here. Let's share screen. It's a Chrome tab. It is. There you go. There.
A rabbi from another planet.
So there you go. So So this is something I've been. This is my idea. I told them this is my idea. This is something I've been saying they should do. A young war doctor for a long time. I'm really excited about it. Have you heard the clip of the guy doing it?
No, that's what I was going to ask you. Who is the guy?
Let me find it.
It's over in my Facebook group, in the Type 40 Facebook group on the top of the wall.
Is it? I'll go and check it out. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I'll play it for you right now in a second.
Dan, from what you've heard of it, does it sound good?
Well, give me a second. You're going to hear it.
Yes, well, no, because you might get a strike on your channel. So
no, not for this.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I always get one. So.
Bigger. Okay. Here, now I've got to share the screen. I've got to go here. Where was it? That one. There we go. Click over here. It's this one. Fine. Turn sound on. And here we go.
Right.
Doctor? Doctor?
No.
I have water. The High Priestess thought you might need it after your experience.
I said no.
I will leave it here for you, Doctor.
Go away and stay away. There is no doctor here.
Lithia, leave our guest. Something tells me he is not yet ready for visitors.
Yes, Ohila.
Doctor, you're scaring the acolytes.
I told that girl, and now I'm telling you. The doctor is gone.
We are burying your acquaintance. Would you like to attend the ceremony?
No. It's cold enough in here.
I thought you should have the chance.
If she hadn't met me, she wouldn't be dead.
On the contrary, she would be dead either way. You tried to save her. The universe is already burning. What matters now is what you will do to stop that. I will see you when you are ready, Doctor.
Why does she sound like Anna Subri?
Actually, do you know, the Force girl's voice sounded like the girl out of the Fires of Pompeii, one of the priestess girls. Do you know when she goes in and tells the High Priestess that the blue box has appeared? Well, she sounds like the girl from there. But why is the John Hurt voice over exaggerated?
Well, because it's not John Hurt, but it's also like he's a younger version of himself.
It doesn't sound like a younger version.
I think he sounds quite similar.
Yeah. Sorry,
can I say I actually, as you know, I'm not a Doctor Who guy, but I have to say I actually think that that is quite a compelling and interesting idea. And is this done by Big Finish? Because I have to say I think that the work that Big Finish generally do is incredibly good. So I actually that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm kind of psyched about this because, firstly, it's a fan actor. It's one of these guys who've been doing these fan audios, which I really like. They basically picked one of us, and he seems to be not like a massive SJW, which is
he is an actor, but he works. I think he's a film. At the present, he's working in film editing, something like that. But he is a trained actor, just not. You'll see what he's got. The perfect face for radio.
What's his name?
Jonathan Carley.
You'll see his face tomorrow. When I release the video. I'm going to Photoshop him onto Paul McGann's War Doctor.
I do have a picture of him here, but yes, he's. This has polarized the fan base. I think. Yes, the standard is easily up to Big Finish's usual standards by the sounds of it. It seems to pick up directly after the regeneration in Night of the Doctor there. I think that could even be the same actresses playing the Handmaiden, playing the Sisters of Khan, because the Sisters of Khan have been in numerous Big Finish audios already, so that would make sense. It does sound slightly exaggerated, but then again, it's early days. To me, it sounds exactly like John Hurt. But the only problem this is an entire incarnation of the Doctor they've now got to play with technically, aside from his very, very later years. It's wide open. It's wide open for them.
Are these directed by Louise Jameson?
I think so. Louise Jameson did a lot more direction.
She does direct a lot for them, doesn't she?
Yeah.
The only problem, though, and we have to be cautious, is the fact that Big Finish lately, though, have become very, as you have all said, very woke, Rabbi. And you've been doing a lot of the audios, and even you said yourself they've gone utterly out of control. See, this is why I'd have a problem with this and would be cautious. This is the War Doctor, right? This is John Hurt. He's no longer with us. So if you're going to do this, you have to be respectful. And you can't be letting any of this crap creep into his stories. This has to be solid. Do you know what, though? I've noticed Big Finish seems to be concentrating on doctors that they know are going to be bankable. Like the 9th Doctor, the 10th Doctor. Now we've got the War Doctor, Paul McGann. Lately, all of these stories coming. David Tennant with Time Lord Victorious. They know what they're doing. They've lost money the last few years and they're trying to recoup some. But I just hope in the process of doing all of these stories that they manage to, you know, write them the way they're supposed to be written and leave all of this wokeness, as you said, Rabbi, that's creeping into a lot of their audios, needs to kind of be in the background. It should be about the stories, the characters that you're trying to, you know, make us learn more about and stuff.
I don't know about you, Noel, but I'm far more excited about Christopher Eccleston next year than this. But this seems just as viable as everything else that Big Finish have ever done.
Yeah.
But I am picking up just from a couple of hours looking in my Facebook group. There's several people in there commenting. A couple of guys who are big Finish fans who are saying this is too. That this has gone too far, and that
not
it's
interested at all in this.
That it's too soon. Since John Hurt's passing to do this, that it's disrespectful. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Listen, he was in the show for one big large episode and at the end of a small episode. Listen,
10
he
years
doesn't
ago.
embody the Doctor. He's not.
Well, he was also in 12 Big Finish stories.
and some Big Finish. Okay, but look. Thing is, I don't see it's too soon, right? I think it's pretty reasonable. The story needs to be told, and I think it's fairly reasonable for them to do this. I don't see a problem with that at all. I don't think he would either.
I can understand why there's a backlash. I'm a little bit more confident about this set than others because the Time War set, they have a very all their Time War stuff has a very somewhat traditionalist feel to it, right? It's always men are men, women are women. Very few bisexual lesbians from the future. Like they tend to do that in more of their throwaway, right? Like the monthly. So I'm a little bit more confident with this one.
I think Doctor Who fans are very suspicious of that, and that's being done right now in the name of Doctor Who, because of what we've gotten in this era, and a lot of fans, and I don't know if this is reflected in Dan's group, but a lot of fans are seeing this the way I'm actually seeing it all right now, as a bit of a cash grab. Is it being done for the right reasons? And that's why I don't
think it's a cash grab. I think they got.
I don't know, Rabbi, because all of these, they're concentrating on all of these, right?
They're spreading it very thin.
The doctor that we have right now is getting no promotion whatsoever, but they're getting all of the stuff with all these old doctors. I just see it. I think it's all cold and cynical in fairness, but I can understand why they're doing it.
I disagree with you because they are mapping out something very interesting with the Time War and putting each set is a tile in this board that they're making, and I think this is a kind of important part of the puzzle that they're putting together. But you know what? This was just a teaser. I'm going to do a video about this tomorrow. Father Miller has not one, but two masses he has to give today. It's not that somebody has to go because they've got to give not one, but two masses. So we're going to.
Oh man, on a roll.
We're going to be a fond farewell. Please go and check the video notes at the bottom. Every's channel is there, I think. Keith, do you have a channel?
I do, yes. I have two. I have British Isles, spelled ILES, like my name there. That's my short film channel, which has some film I've acted on there, and I'm in one of them. And I have a channel called Home Media Mild on YouTube, which does all Rays, 4Ks, etc. Here's the Alien as it fits today. And yeah, please check that out as a Media Minefield.
I can tell you what. Send me those links and also your Twitter. I'll put everything in the video notes. Thank you to the panel for coming. Thank you for the chat. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back next week. We're doing Fifth Element. Keith, do you want to join us? Do you want to give it?
Actually, I might. I wouldn't mind checking the Fifth Element out. I've not seen it in years, so I might join you on that one.
Okay, I will. No, please. Could you?
Wasn't a big fan before, I'll be honest, but yeah.
Could you send me your? Could you find me on Twitter, and I'll because I normally send everybody the movie each week, so they can get it easily.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Fine. So I'm going to click the end broadcast button. but that's not going to end. That never ends a broadcast because StreamYard is full of weak people who don't know when a broadcast is going to end. So they say, "Are you sure?" And I'm sure by jiggery. So I'm going to click the end broadcast button. The Wizzy Wheel's going.